Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another edition. I shouldn't even say another edition of another duly noted podcast because we didn't have an edition last week. On Friday, I was pretty ill, sinus infection. Feel worse for my wife who's dealing with a flu. She's been tested 3 times for COVID. She's fine, but I don't call in sick. And I think Tammy was stunned when I called her and said, I'm not coming today. I can't walk. I'm falling down every time I start to walk. It's like I'm drunk, and I'm not. That day I wasn't drunk. But anyway, so what I did was watch a lot of television over the weekend, just kind of took it easy. Coach Spurrier will join us today. Robbie Andreu will join us today. On Friday, Sean Kelly, who was supposed to be on last Friday, will join us Friday. So there we go. All right, let's get to our hand law starting lineup to start today's show. And today should be a fun one, the starting lineup. As always, presented by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. We appreciate Chris Hand so much for his continued sponsorship of the another duly noted podcast. Number one, let's start off with the game Saturday. If you want to, well, there's not much to say. Castleton clearly was masking a lot of the issues with this roster. This roster is not very good, and we all know that. It's a sad truth. It is what it is. This team's probably going to finish with a losing record. Just remember how just recent it was when they beat Tennessee. They were 6-3 in the league. They're going to get into the tournament, and now they got no chance of making the tournament. They'll probably lose. They could lose all their final 5 games. It's just not a good roster. It really isn't. That's the bottom line, and that's on Todd Golden. Maybe not doing a good job of evaluation in this case. But again, I'm still willing to give a guy like that a lot of time. I really am, because it's his first year on the job. He inherited a situation that was a little toxic, and we'll see what he's able to do. But there's no reason for a lot of optimism next year. It feels like football all over again. Florida could end up with losing records in football and basketball. First time since 1979. Number 2 on the Hand Law starting lineup. How did we get here is a question I wrote down, and I don't know the answer, but I can give you a lot of illustrations on how we got here, of why Florida is here. Don't forget, it's not that long ago Florida won basketball and football national championships in the same year, the only school to ever do it. And I'll never forget this. Jeremy Foley telling me, why can't we just keep it going? And I was like, because nobody does. It's impossible. And they didn't. And Billy Donovan was still here at the time. At the time, Urban Meyer was still. Don't forget, Urban Meyer the next year made the national championship game, but by then Billy's had to rebuild his program, and he did. Got him to a Final Four with no NBA players on his team. Pretty impressive, but it's just been a combination of guys who struggled with game-to-game operations, didn't do a good job, and guys who didn't recruit well. But it's like a giant mashup of things that didn't go right. That's the bottom line. One day I'm going to break them all down. It may be this week. I don't know. But I'm going to break them down as to how we got to this situation where Florida is going to be under 500 in men's basketball and football for the first time in, let me do the math real quick, 44 years, right? That's not good. But it is what it is. Number 3, I want to say this because it does matter to me. SEC still matters. Winning SEC championships does still matter. And congrats to men's and women's swimming for winning both. That's first time in 30 years they've done that. 11 straight for the men. We'll see if they can win everything. Maybe they're that good. But it's kind of important that they were able to do this. Florida's now won 258 SEC championships. Nobody's even close to that number. 45 straight years winning at least one. That's pretty impressive when you think about it. And a lot of people, you will say, I don't care. All I care about is football. All I care about is football and basketball. All I care is football, basketball, and baseball. Okay? Well, I care about everything, so we're going to mention all those things. Number 4, let's get to baseball. And, of course, what a weekend they had. Again, Charleston Southern's not very good. They made a lot of errors. They gave Florida a lot of runs. But Florida beat them 37-5. They pitched the ball awfully well. 3 guys, all 3 starters coming out there just throwing gas. Caglione was up to 98. Sproat touched 100. Hudson Waldrop, who is or Hurston Waldrop, sorry. I'm going to get that name right eventually, who is the kid from Southern Miss, is really good. They have, if they can keep all 3 of those guys healthy, that's as good as starting 3 as they've had since the year they won the national title with Faedo, Singer, and Coar. It's really good, and I thought it would be. Softball also now up to 10-0, had some really good they had some competitive games, and that was good for them. We're going to find out about them going forward, but 10-0 is still 10-0, and we'll get to the Campus USA Play of the Weekend. Could be one of those games as well, but really good for the sports across the street from each other to get off to great starts this weekend. That was fun. Number 5 on the hand-loss starting lineup. Disappointing that gymnastics lost, but they didn't do bad. They were just fraction of a point away from getting to 198, which is the goal you want to get to. LSU was just ridiculously good, and you get a little bit of a benefit of scoring. You probably, I don't know. I would ask, next time we have Jenny Rowland on the show, we should ask her, what do you think is the average amount boost you get when you're at home? Now, a lot of it is that your athletes are competing in front of people that care about them and are screaming and yelling for them. But some of it is just that the judges are affected by it. But we'll see. So gymnastics, no big deal. They lost. Not going undefeated is not that big a deal in gymnastics. It's all about continuing to get better. And there was certainly a 10 again from Trinity Thomas. So that is our hand-loss starting lineup. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Coach Spurrier. We always love talking to him. We'll have a lot of stuff to talk to him about. A lot of stuff happened this weekend here on another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Duly Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept. Being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley's Storytime is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Eige team at Odell Realty. Ben Eige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Eige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators. That's www.beneige.com/Gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Eige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators or call 704-201-4264. All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And of course, Meldon Law also presents the HBC, and we love having them on here every Monday. It's been so much fun, and we've been doing this for almost a year now with you every Monday. It's been so much fun. I hope you keep doing it. I hope you do it.
It gives me something to look forward to, really. And, we talk about the Gator sports, but national sports.
Yeah.
Sometimes Gator football and basketball haven't been a lot to talk about. So we got to talk about swimming.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
Gymnastics, although we've lost our first gymnastics meet, but that can happen. You don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a little off day, and LSU is a heck of a team also. But I look for our gymnastics team to bounce back and really get hot and maybe win it all this year.
Yeah, I mean, gymnastics is a weird sport in that it really, the home field advantage is huge because the judges are affected by it.
Yeah, I agree.
Home court, I guess, or home
field,
podium,
home
or
court,
whatever you want to
home
call
gym. And you can have a little bit of off day.
But they didn't have that bad a score. I mean, it was like, it was right up there, almost 198. So
and LSU was hot.
They were hot. They hit everything.
They had their best event of the year. So it can happen, but you don't let it ruin your season. You bounce back, and I'm sure Jenny will have her ladies ready to go this next meet.
The interesting thing, the great thing to me, I was a little bit under the weather this weekend, so I just sat and watched stuff all weekend, and there was so much to watch. None of it was football, basketball, Gator sports, college sports, and everything like that. Although there was a basketball game, but it was not fun to watch. I mean, we know where this team's going. It's sad that this happened to Colin Castleton. I hate that it happened to him. For him, he came back. But clearly he was kind of masking some of the problems they have, I think. But But the bottom line is there was so much else going on with baseball. I watched all the baseball games on SEC Plus, I guess it was. I'll pay for anything, but they're off to a good start. Softball off to a good start. And you mentioned swimming. Big deal for swimming to win it all. First time in 30 years, Florida's won both.
Men and women,
Yeah, and men winning 11 straight. Maybe Anthony Nesty was a good hire for Scott Strickland.
He's the coach of there. He and our track coach, Holloway, Mouse Holloway, they're up for Florida Coach of the Year right now. And, of course, Jenny Rowland's got to be up for it. Mary Wise should be. She won her 24th, I think, volleyball championship. So a lot of our sports are doing very well.
Maybe that's an award you could start giving out here. You're giving out what is it, the 27th, where you're going to give the
coach of
first
the year,
year coach?
First year, Sonny Dykes is going to win that, and that's a week from today.
Yeah.
So here at Gridiron Grill. So I think tickets are still available. He'll be here. Bobby Stoops is planning on flying in with him. He's our legend coach of the year. Drake May, the quarterback at North Carolina, is the freshman of the year. So he's planning on being here. So it should be a really outstanding event. Chris Doring Mortgage is our main sponsor, and we got several other sponsors. And annual event here. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's become a big deal. I mean, I know last year it was packed in here, and when Josh Heupel and Shane Beamer were here, and that was so cool to meet both those guys, and a lot of fun. In fact, I think we'll probably do our radio show out here that day, so we can give it a little more pub. But
a week from today. Yeah, a week from today.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing I was impressed with yesterday, Pat. I was flipping around between both of the golf tournaments. and the senior, Bernhard Langer, had a chance to tie Hale Irwin with 45 victories. And he won the event. He's 65 years old. He in 54 holes, he made 19 birdies and only 2 bogeys. And he ended up winning by 3 shots, something like that. But afterwards, he made a nice talk. He's very religious, sincere Christian man. He said, God, family, and then golf is my priorities in life and so forth. And it was really interesting. But you talk about physically fit. He looks the same as when he was 45.
I know.
35.
I know.
He's still lean and strong and hits it out there with all those other guys. So, gosh, he could probably play. He's going to play another 5 years easy, I think, out there, and probably compete and still beat those guys. So that was interesting to watch.
It was. It's sad to think at 68 how short I hit the ball compared to some of these 65, 68-year-old guys that are just still cranking at 300 yards down the fairway. But, I watched a little bit of the Riviera with Genesis. I watched John Rahm. I kept rooting for Rahm to come back to the field, and then you're kind of rooting for him after. But it was fun to watch, and
he's clearly the best player in the world.
Oh yeah,
gosh,
he's number 1
3 times already this year,
and he only brings it back to here.
Yeah, and then he explodes through it though. But those guys that win nowadays, obviously, they can hit it a long way, and their short game is excellent.
Well, and the other thing is these guys, and I've talked to people about this. One reason I don't hit the ball, I have little, tiny, skinny forearms. Okay, these guys have forearms that are like out to here, and that's where they generate and their shoulders too. They generate all that amazing club speed because they're so strong upper body. It's not that they're swinging hard; it just generates.
Yeah, good hand, forearm, and so forth. Yeah, like you say, and. I didn't really lose my hand grip and all that till I hit about 74, 75. So, but at 65, I was still shooting in the 70s.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of good years left.
I don't know about. I played Friday. We didn't do the show Thursday because I was sick. I had this thing scheduled. I played Friday, shot 39 on the front, so I was pretty happy with that. Playing with Rick Clarkson, a former Gator basketball player, and Tim Fletcher, who was another former Gator basketball player. And then on the back nine, it fell apart. 46 in the back.
Yep. That can happen when you start chunking chips and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Or just not paying attention, which I think there was a little bit of that. But you also, I'm sure you watch a little bit of XFL this weekend because Coach Stoops,
Yeah, it was interesting. I caught a bit of all those games. And, Bobby's team got 2 defensive scores,
Yep.
and that's how they ended up winning that game. My son Scotty is special team coach.
He is.
His field goal guy was 3 for 3. So I said, I told him I hope he got a game ball. And the 2 defensive scores, those guys deserve it. Their offense didn't do much, just a little.
Yeah, they didn't do much.
But
Yeah,
a lot of the offenses didn't do a whole lot, except the Houston team. They looked good. And then the game yesterday with the DC team coming back and beating who did they beat? They beat the other team when the other team had the lead, and they got a defensive score to turn it around. Sometimes these coaches, it's interesting. They think, well, we got to play wide open. We got to throw the ball. And they have a lead, and they throw interceptions for touchdowns, which is pretty stupid. And sometimes if you have to, your defense is playing well, let them go win the game and win ugly.
right.
But they want to keep throwing. We got to play wide open and all that. And they end up costing their team the game, in my opinion.
My recollection was that in the first game Bobby Stoops coached under you, they scored like 4 touchdowns. Yeah.
Yep, against Houston. Yeah, I was going to call him and tell him it might be the first one here. I think our offense scored 4 also. So it wasn't, and we won 58-10 or 14 or something. No, 58-21 or something. I think. So I don't think the defense outscored us, but they almost did that game.
Yeah, I remember that game because we were. That's back when you could talk to the defensive coordinator after a game.
That was the opener that year, 96, and I remember our athletic director from Duke was down at Black Diamond. He had a place down there. He sort of retired. He was down there. He came up for the game, and he said, "I've never seen anything like this." Before the game, there were people outside with their hands in the air looking for tickets, and the rain prediction, that time. Late August or early September, it was about like 60 or 70% chance of rain, but it didn't bother our crowd. He said, these people down here love football. And I said, well, we got really good players, and they love playing in front of our crowd. But people had their fingers in the air looking for tickets, and we were playing University of Houston, which was just, not a really great team back in those days.
What was there ever an opener that you were nervous about when you started?
Opener here.
Well, I mean, you played Kentucky one year, and I mean, Kentucky wasn't any good, but it was rare that you would play an SEC team to start the season. I was just trying to think of an opener. You were able to kind of slide into the season.
Yeah, we usually had a non-Power 5 opener. We did. We played 3 straight conference games that year.
Yeah.
I want to say it might have been 92.
92, yeah.
It might have been.
Yep.
But, usually, but Tennessee was either the second or third game a lot of years. So we jumped. We tried to be ready early and keep getting better as the season went on.
Do you miss that they don't have Florida, Tennessee as the third weekend? It was always, now it's just you don't know where it's going to show up.
Well, it's in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And, of course, Georgia's so good now. See, Georgia never even won a division all 12 years that I was here. So
that's not true,
they've
Steve.
come back a long way.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you a story you're going to love. I went up to interview Ray Goff in 95, the year that Florida played up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm up there for the whole week, and I go to interview him, and on his desk is an SEC East championship trophy.
Oh, he tied with us.
Because they tied with you.
That's right, they did.
And I'm like, but why would you even display that? You didn't go to the game or anything. And I just went, man, if you're displaying that thing, I mean, it was on his desk. And I'm like, yeah, I guess everybody gets one if you tie.
Yeah, that's true. They could claim that.
Yeah.
They were co-East champs, and since we beat them head up, we went to the championship game. Yeah, you're right. They did have
so you got one.
Co-East, yeah.
But it didn't do them any good.
Well, we had a co-East and lost to Tennessee in '98, but we ain't bragging about it. In fact, I don't even think we got a plaque for that. I need to go back and tell everybody we were co-East champs because we only lost one game.
That's right.
But they didn't lose any. So, no, we didn't win it.
I don't think Florida would display a shared conference championship where you didn't get to go to the SEC championship game. I don't think that, it's not a Florida kind of thing.
No, it's the winner of the division goes to it and so forth. But anyway.
All right. So we do want to get to our Campus USA Play of the Weekend, and Steve, I know you care about all sports here, like I do. I'm a big proponent of all sports. We have our Play of the Weekend comes from one of the many sports that were played on campus this weekend. And here it is, brought to you by Campus USA. And there it is, Sam Rowe with the walk-off. Now, it was great that Florida got that kind of game early in the season against a team that's maybe not that good, but she gets a walk-off on Saturday, and Florida wins and goes to 10-0 in softball right now. Now, they haven't really beaten anybody, but everything's about to change for them. The schedule gets way tougher, UCLA and stuff like that. But it's great that softball and baseball are both back playing again.
Yeah, it is. And it looks like we got really two good teams that have an opportunity. Of course, it's a long season, and they got to both try to get better as the season progresses. And if we can do that, then the big year is still out there. It's possible. Yeah.
I always say the summer is about the O's. Omaha and Oklahoma City. Do you get to those two? It's about being the O's.
Well, the conference championship I still like.
Yeah.
Because you're in the record books forever if you win it. And so let's win that. Then soon as that's over, if you win it, then the tournament, then you worry about Omaha and Oklahoma City.
But that's the thing. I know it matters to you, and it does matter to me. You and I are very much alike in this, that Florida winning the SEC in swimming in men's and women's is a big deal. Now, a lot of people will go, whatever. All that matters is what you're doing in football. Nobody wants them to be bad in football or basketball, but we want them to be great in football and basketball. But the bottom line is there's a chance they could both finish under 500. Meanwhile, Florida's winning the SEC in swimming, won it in volleyball, has a chance to win it in softball, has a chance to win it. So I think it's important. It's important to me. I don't know sometimes how important it is to all the Gator Nation.
Well, that's true. And sometimes our media people cover football maybe more than they should because every guy we're recruiting, if there's an offensive lineman down in Orlando somewhere that commits to us, he might get the headlines. And then 2 weeks later, he decommits and commits to Miami.
And that's the headline.
So we need to go back in the paper and erase that. But but that's, I guess, the interest in most Gators is always going to be football and basketball and baseball. But really, all the sports are very important, and it's fun to watch the ones that really compete as hard as they can, try to win for their team, win for the Gator Nation, and so forth. So that's why I really enjoy watching all these other sports here in Florida.
Yeah, and this is the place to be, right, if you're going to be doing that because they're very good here, as we all know.
Yep.
I don't know how much you got to watch of the golf with Rahm and Homa having, it was kind of a two-man battle there, but I'm curious how much you got to see of Tiger Woods play, and it's still painful to watch him walk around the course. But at least he did okay. He finished 72 holes.
Like one of the guys said, he doesn't putt like he used to. He used to make everything inside of 8 feet.
Used to drive me crazy. He never missed.
He just made all. Now he's missing 4 and 5 footers and things like that. But he was out driving Justin Thomas and McIlroy that first couple of days they played together. So, he's got no problem hitting the ball. Getting around. It's a shame you have to walk in golf. They won't give you a little card or anything, and he knows that, and he hadn't asked for anything special.
Do you think, though, if he said, hey, look, guys, I can't do this anymore unless I have a card, because he is that big a deal, do you think they would do it?
Well, I just don't think he would ask for it. I don't
think he would either.
He's such a traditionalist. But, you couldn't blame them if they did. The TV ratings and people come to the tournament. Yeah. He's the guy they want to see play. So
he was my biggest draw most of the week, where I'm watching it. Yeah. I know I watched his entire round on Thursday just to see what he was going to do, because you're wondering what he's going to be able to do. What is he going to hit those Tiger shots and everything? But he's a shell of what he used to be, and a lot of it has to do with, the accident.
Maybe they could say the Pro-Am day, you can have a cart.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had to walk that day too.
I know.
It was
I
a
know.
cold day.
I think he played 16 that day.
Had
Yeah.
a ski cap on, and it was a cold morning. He walked. He stopped after 16. Said, "I'm gonna walk on in with you guys." But yeah, maybe they'll let him have a cart that day. Then now he's only walking 4 days instead of 5.
Yep. Yeah. Could be.
Who knows?
All right, Coach. You got anything else? I see. Do you have a top list there?
Oh, not too much. One thing I saw in the paper the other day that we got to give FSU credit. They were number 1 in the nation in the transfer portal, picking up guys. I saw that.
They're building that team that way. Yeah.
LSU was second. And
not that there's anything wrong with it. If you can,
no, it's like recruiting.
Yeah,
it's just as good as recruiting. Colorado was third. Deion's.
Well, yeah.
And then you got Oklahoma, Oregon, Southern Cal, typical people, Mississippi, Michigan.
Mississippi
Auburn.
doesn't recruit. They just basically go through the portal. But
they go to the portal.
That's an opportunity for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Auburn got in there at number 9. So Hugh Freeze picked up a bunch of guys.
Yeah, he lost. I think I read this today. He lost pretty much his entire offensive and defensive lines. So he has to fill it. And again, you never know how they're going to mesh, do you? Offensive line especially. How they're going to mesh. Okay, you can bring in 5 guys from 5 different places. Are they going to work together as a cohesive unit? The whole thing with offensive line coaches, and I know you had some great ones, is 5 guys acting as one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you'd be surprised though, Pat, how coaches all coach differently. One reason I really think when I coach these all-star games, things like that, you get guys for 1 week. All right. The little scheme we gave them was easy to learn. Okay, right's right, left's left. In fact, yesterday I was watching the XFL and had the quarterback sweep on, and they call it 19. Well, that's what we call it. The one back, this guy gets the ball. There's a 9 hole over there, 8 hole over there. So, but Shane's team, you know what their audible for the draw play was? 60 draw. I'm going to have to ask you. I don't think you fooled anybody with that audible 60 draw. But anyway, just keep it simple, coach the heck out of them. And, you get 2 or 3 weeks to coach it all up. You should be ready to go. You really should be.
So when they called 60 draw, did it work?
It was the draw. I think it did. I don't think the defense was even listening to it. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Maybe they couldn't understand. Shane's got that little draw. Maybe they couldn't play it.
The quarterback yelled it.
Oh.
Quarterback on the field, 60 draw, 60 draw. I said, I think the draw play's coming. I told Jerry. So anyway.
That's funny. All right. We'll let Coach go. We always love having him on Mondays, and it's a lot of fun. And he's brought to you, of course, by the great folks at Meldon Law. We love them. They're big sponsors of the Bob Dooley Invitational. We got to get you to one day come out there. Well, you came out for the party one year. We got to get you out there for the party this year.
Yeah. What's the date of that?
May 13th is the tournament. May 12th is the party.
May 12th. Okay. Yeah. Ironwood, right?
Ironwood. Yeah.
All
right. We'll let Coach go, and we'll be back with with all our other stuff. We'll have Robbie Andreu for Yes, No, Where, Maybe here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. This is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Eige team at Odell Realty. Ben Eige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Eige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/gators. That's www.beneige.com/gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Eige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/gators or call 704-201-4264. All right, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. As always on Mondays, we go from Steve Spurrier, one of the greats, to Robbie Andreu, one of the greats. I don't know about that, but anyway.
I don't know about that either, Pat.
It's great to have Robbie on for Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. And I know, hey, Robbie, I just found out that Coach Spurrier was talking about when they would call the play 19, it would mean that the quarterback was going to run around the right end. And that they were doing that in the XFL game. And he started telling me, I love it when guys start telling me about the play calls they had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great.
I want to know what you call in the huddle to make guys know what they're going to do. It's fascinating to me.
That is fascinating, Pat.
Maybe I should have been a coach.
Yeah. And what a source to get it from, too, Spurrier.
Yeah, as good as it gets. Hey, by the way, I heard you have a good story from your brother's wedding.
Well, it's not Tim's wedding, but his son's wedding, my nephew,
okay.
Al. So we're at the Tampa Yacht Club, Pat, and I've never really been there. So I had to leave to go get something out of the car. And I was trying to weave my way through a building I didn't know much about. There was all these different rooms, and I'm going through this bar, and I see this little narrow hallway to freedom. And as I'm walking toward it, there was an older man, like hunched over, walking right toward me. And we're like doing the back and forth thing, And then I ran into myself. It was a mirror. There were people in the bar who were looking. I don't know what they thought. I ran into myself.
Had you had anything? Had you had
I hadn't had
anything
anything to drink. No. The thing is, so I've always wondered what it would be like if I saw myself walking down the street, and it's not a pretty sight.
That's the thing, Robbie. There's times when I get dressed nice and I've lost some weight and everything, and I'll walk by like a reflection. I go, oh crap! No, it's not that good. It's terrible. No wonder nobody's looking at me the right way.
But Pat, Jill wanted me to point out too that I was wearing a suit, which I never wear, so that's why I didn't recognize myself right away.
Well, that is your best excuse. You running into yourself is right up there with "Go Get Lost."
That was a good one too.
The Gusher was right up there too.
Yeah,
that story we cannot tell.
No, Clean Sheets was a good one too.
Clean Sheets is a good one.
Yeah,
but we'd love to sit around and tell these stories about Robbie.
Usually in me sometimes.
Usually it's about his sex life, but sometimes it can just be about him walking into himself.
Running into myself.
I'm not going to be able to get that image out of my head. I'm just wondering what
the people in the bar thought when they saw that.
All right, Robbie, it's time. And, of course, Robbie comes to us on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line, and he is brought to you by Hesser and Kipke. We love the people at Hesser and Kipke. Ken Hesser was just on the show last week. We loved him being on here. And let us get to Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, which is brought to you, as always, by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you go in there and tell them you saw the Dooley Noted podcast, another Dooley Noted podcast, you get free fries with your order. And we love Big Mills, also a sponsor of the Bob Dooley. All right, Robbie, here we go. Well, I tried to get the image of you walking into yourself out of my head. Number one, you were impressed with Jason Tatum scoring 55 points in the All-Star game last night.
What was that, Pat? I couldn't hear you.
No, you were impressed by Jason Tatum scoring 55 points in the All-Star game last night.
No way, because I didn't even see it. I didn't even know about it until you told me.
I watched 2 minutes and I went, this is not basketball. No, thank you.
I even forgot about it being home.
I was in such a mood to watch TV, and so I made myself watch a little bit, and then it was just bad. But it's an NBA record for an All-Star game, 55 points.
I'll take your word for it. No way.
Well, you make enough shots, you get 55 points. Number two, Nick Saban hiring Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele gives the West to LSU.
No way. I think LSU may be one of the favorites now, but I'm going to trust Nick Saban that he's hired guys that he thinks are going to keep that program where it's at and where it's headed. So yeah, I'm going to say no way on that. I think that some may think LSU is going to be favored, but I think his hires are going to be fine. And with Steele, he knows the SEC, and I guess the Notre Dame guy has been highly thought of out there. So I think he's going to end up being a good hire too. So yeah, I think Alabama will still be ahead of LSU, regardless of these hires. I think you trust Nick Saban on it.
You would think that Alabama fans by now would trust this guy, but they're not happy. They want to get Belichick as a defensive coordinator and Kingsbury for the offensive coordinator, but just doesn't work that way.
Trust Nicky.
Yeah, I would trust him. I mean, what do you want him to do? I mean, he had a down year. He lost 2 games on the last play of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible. I think
in
Florida would
incredibly
take,
hostile environments too.
yeah, Florida would take that right now.
Yeah.
Finally, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, maybe brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. Robbie, you blame yourself for Florida's football and basketball problems because since you retired, they have sucked at those two sports.
I'm going to say maybe. I don't know. I think it's just a coincidence.
Sometimes I blame myself. Maybe if I hadn't left, you know.
When we left, everything fell apart. Think about it, Pat.
Maybe we were the glue.
I don't know how, but
I've tried to rationalize that, but I can't come up with a way to rationalize. I can't. There's no way I can sit there and go, no, I get it. I could do a whole list of 12 things.
Oh, yeah.
12 things Robbie and I brought to the table.
Well, Pat, what is the football record since we retired? I mean, we retired before the LSU game.
It is 12 and 17.
The shoe.
12 and 17.
God, that's unbelievable.
I never thought we'd ever see that. In basketball, obviously, I would think it's going to finish under 500. So Florida hasn't finished under 500 since 1979 in those two sports.
In both sports, yeah. The two big sports in Florida's underwater in both right now. It's not a good time.
You saw some of those nights. Did you see any of those games of 79? I saw one. No, two.
79.
10 and 1.
I didn't see any of them. I was covering the Bucks.
Yeah, I was at the Georgia Tech game, the tie. I was there.
Yeah.
And then I was at the FSU game at the end of the year. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that was the season I didn't see a single game in person, but I saw a couple on TV, like the FSU game.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, maybe we are part of the problem. We're not part of the solution. I know that.
They don't want us to come back, though. You know that.
Nobody does. Well, readers do, but you know,
maybe a few. Which would be nice.
Believe me, if I get stopped once a week by somebody saying, "Man, we miss you," and I know, and they go, "We miss Robbie too," and I'm like, "Well, you can see him on the podcast. That's all you need."
Yeah.
Watch another Dooley Noted podcast. You can get all. Look, Robbie has about a 7-minute shelf life anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm good for.
After that, you're going to get tired of them. So just enjoy that.
Little bits and pieces. That's the way to do it.
All right.
Like running into myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, please do me a favor. And when you leave, when you get done with this, do not run into the mirror right behind you. Okay.
I won't. All right. But I'll see you tomorrow night, Pat.
Okay. See you, buddy. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, Robbie's going to join me tomorrow for the radio show because Jeff has got to go to South Florida to cover South Florida. So that's Yes, Nowhere, maybe brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteaks. We appreciate them. We're going to add a new feature on the Ben Eige Odell Realty Games of the Week, and we're going to give you the Games of the Week, and then we're going to add the House of the Week, which Ben Eige is, of course, involved in selling houses up in North Carolina area, and we got a good one for you today. In fact, I may buy it. I may or may not buy it. I'm thinking about it, though. It's that good. Let me get to it. Okay, here it is. The House of the Week, brought to you by Ben Eige Odell Realty. 6-bedroom, 6.5 bathroom house. That's a lot of bathrooms. Is on 3 acres in the mountains above Waynesville, North Carolina. I know where that is. And only 30 minutes from the Cataloochee. I think I got that right. I had to stop for a second there. Cataloochee ski area. So this is perfect. The house features wraparound porches and 5 en-suite bathrooms. Is that right? En-suite or en-suite? En-suite. Yeah, you have to put, Ben, you're going to have to put some kind of pronunciation on some of these things because I'm not very smart. All right, en-suite bathrooms. It's listed for $745,000. Chump change. You got no problem with that. And it has tremendous potential to generate revenue as a vacation home. That's where I start thinking about it. You can get it for 2 weeks. That's all you need. Boom. Reach out to Ben Eige beneige.com. That's beneige.com/Gators to find out more details. So that'll be our another feature we add. We're always adding things here. We always love doing that. Let's get to the games of the week. Tuesday, let's start with baseball. Tuesday, they're going to USF, 6 o'clock game, and it's on one of the Plus networks, ESPN or SEC Plus. I think they're basically the same. So they do that Tuesday. They come back home. They play Wednesday against USF again. USF's got a pretty good team. 6 p.m. again, and that's also on both the Pluses. They play Cincinnati Friday. We'll get into all that on Friday's show. And then, of course, Miami the following week, where it's really going to get interesting. Softball. Thursday, they go out to California. They do this every year. They do it differently than a lot of teams. Some teams want to go down that Clearwater Invitational. This is the way Tim Walton does it. He goes to South Florida for their tournament, and then he goes out to the West Coast. He gets to stay in Palm Springs. It's not a bad gig. But the great thing about it is there's some unbelievable games that are going to come about, including one. Well, Thursday they play at 8 o'clock against Cal State Fullerton. And then after that, they play against UCLA. UCLA is number 2 in the country. Florida's number 3. At least these were the rankings that I saw. I don't know if any of those games are going to be on TV. They're going to be on that something called Flow something. I don't know. I've tried to get it, and I couldn't get it. So anyway. So that is softball. And, of course, basketball, 7 o'clock Wednesday night against Kentucky. It's on ESPN, the big ESPN, the real ESPN. So we'll see what happens there. But, not many people are very optimistic about winning. I think going into that game, that's where you kind of went and said, look, if Florida can just get this Vandy and Ole Miss games, and then if they could steal one at Arkansas and beat Kentucky, they're right in the middle of it. And it didn't work out. It's we all know it's done, as we said earlier. All right, let us get to our Adams Rubco to Go Gator of the weekend. And my Gator of the weekend had a lot of options. There's no doubt about it. Baseball, softball, everything. But my Gator of the weekend is Anthony Nesty. Anthony Nesty, of course, former Gator great, now the coach of both the men and the women. He was given that job with the women a little while back, and obviously has turned them into great swimmers. Or not, he didn't turn them in, but he's doing a heck of a job. This is a hire that if you're, a lot of people want to criticize the athletic director for some of the hires he's made. He made this hire, and it's been a pretty good one. Now, and a lot of you will go, I don't care about swimming. Look, I actually watched a little bit of the swimming on tape delay. Well, I did watch a little bit of it. I care about SEC championships, but Anthony Nesty, who did do a nice cameo on my retirement video that they sent me. Florida made a retirement video for me. One day we'll show it on the show. Lasts about 20 minutes. It'll kill 20 minutes. It's very nice. They read stories of mine. Yeah, it was very, very sweet that they did that when I retired. All right, let's get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. We've obviously got a lot of people. The guy who won last week, Matthew Fail, I think it was. Yeah, I am so far behind. I've been ill, but I will get your stuff to you one way or the other. Okay, from last time, the last one. But here's our quick picks. We had a lot of people qualify over the weekend, but here's our quick pick. Who is going to be the Florida leading scorer against Kentucky? You've got a lot of options because you know who it won't be. That's the guy with the bandage on his arm. I guess it's not really a cast. It's kind of more of like, but I don't know. It's probably a cast under there. Anyway, so who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Kugel? Is it going to be Lofton? Is it going to be Richard? Is it going to be Shimmy? They call him Schmerzak or whatever his name is. Who I forgot was even on the team. So all that's coming up, and we'll see what happens there. All right, let us get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, which we always love. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Hesser and Kipke a sponsor of all Robbie's appearances as well. And as you know, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-on-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. Don't believe me? Well, check out their more than I almost got it. I almost got the whole thing right. Check out their more than 55 that threw me, the 55 5-stars. We added it 55 stars. I was able to do that. 55 5-star Google reviews, or better yet, give them a call at 352-339-9920. All right, number one. Look, I got to admit, I'm not great about keeping up with all sports and rules changes. I keep up with football, a little bit of basketball, but other sports. I had no idea that college baseball was going to this pitch clock, and we saw it happen on Friday night where a guy had a ball called with a 3-1 count because he didn't get the pitch off in time. It seems a little punitive to me, but it is going to speed the game up. I did not know there was a 10-run rule now. And you don't have to use it for non-conference games, but they do for conference games, but they use it in this series in Florida. First 2 games were run rule games. Where was all this when I was covering the team? That's what I want to know. When I was a beat writer for Florida baseball, which I took on even when I was a columnist, I loved covering, I still love going to Gator baseball games. But where was this? Back then we used to have 4.5-hour games. 18 pitching changes. Now everything's done to speed up the game. Great. They need to do this. They need to make this game. The bottom line with all sports now is you've got to fit into a compartment. If you can't fit into it and you just leak all over the place, people are not going to get into it. They're not going to get excited about it. If you start to watch a baseball game and here's the first pitch and you're fired up, and then all of a sudden it's 3 hours later and it's the 5th inning. It's not good. So these rules should make a difference. Number 2, I was going to mention this on Friday, but obviously because we couldn't do a show, the state removing the NIL restrictions they had. Big deal was made out of this. I don't know how big a deal it's going to be. To me, it just adds another bullet to the Wild Wild West. I mean, there still aren't any rules. I know it's good for Florida State, and Miami. I know it's good for them, and I guess UCF. I'll throw them in there, but because they're now in a Big 12. So, but I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I think guys are going to still go where they can get the most money. It is the world we live in. But I just want to make sure that we did talk about that. And number 3, can we all, and this is on the Hesser and Kipke 3 things, can we all just say what all-star games are? They are for the fans of the sport. They're not for everybody. They're not, the Pro Bowl's not for everybody. They're not for me. None of these are for me. The hockey all-star game is not for me. The NBA all-star game, as we talked about, it's not for me. They're not for everybody. But they're for the people who really care about the sport. They want to see these people. They're for the people who are at the game, which they get a great crowd for the Pro Bowl. They get a great crowd for, even though it was flag football, they get a great crowd last night for the basketball. The baseball all-star game is still revered, even though I can't watch it. I don't care. It's just boring. It was important when it was the American League versus the National League, and they never played each other. And players didn't have free agency. Then it was a big deal. Back in my day, you stayed with one team, and that was it, unless we traded you. And it was good, and we liked it. All-star games are the worst. Sorry. That's the way I look at it. All right, let us get to our final thing of the day, which is Pat Dooley's story time. And I want to tell you a quick story about, and of course, sponsored by East Lake Pediatrics. The great Mike Jordan, who has been such a big friend of the Bob Dooley Invitational. I covered the Daytona 500, which was yesterday. I didn't cover it yesterday, believe me. but I've covered it many times. Covered it for the Times-Union, covered it for the Gainesville Sun. The one year I went and I left, I want to say I got there 4 hours early because I was worried about parking. And it turned out it was the year that President Bush Jr. So what was he? Was he HW or I don't know, whatever. I have no problem with President Bush. I'm just saying he was there. So he was there. And as a result, Secret Service took up all these parking spots. Media parking was done. 4 hours for it. I went on the end of the track. I had to go underneath, that where the track goes around. I had to drive underneath it and try to find parking. And I was there was nothing. So I call my boss and I go, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't park my car. And I found a spot. There was one little tiny spot. I crammed in there. Then I had to go and was in the infield. I had to walk all the way across. Had to go through everything, get up to the press box. I'm finally there. Still 2 hours ago. Sit there, and I don't know NASCAR very well. I have nothing but respect for the people that do it, and I have nothing but respect for the people that love it. But it's not my thing. I got enough things. And so, you know what I did the whole game, or the whole race? I watched Florida Miami baseball on my laptop. I felt bad. And then I didn't even get to go down to talk to anybody, but they brought the winner up. That was the only quotes you could get were from the winner. And it was Jeff Gordon, actually. And Jeff Gordon won it. And I had my hand up and never got called on. And that was my last one. You know why it was my last race to cover there? Because the next year they pulled me off the Masters after 9 years. I loved it. I thank the Gainesville Sun for sending me up there 9 straight years. They pulled me off. They just don't feel like we need a local version of the national story. Okay. You mean like Daytona? Oh, yeah. So you don't have to go there anymore either. That was a lose win because that year that I didn't go, Chris DeMarco and Tiger Woods were in a playoff. Gator versus Tiger. How good would that story have been? We'll never know. And then they called me. A guy literally called me after it got over. And I'm eight Bud Light limes into the day because I'm watching golf. It's the best thing in the world. He calls me and he goes, hey, is there any way you can get a hold of DeMarco? I'm like, I literally went like this. I said, no. Hung up the phone. I did. Chris and I are good friends, and I could have, but I didn't. Anyway, I can tell all those stories now because I don't work for the Gainesville Sun anymore. All right, that's going to do it for another Dooley Noted podcast. Again, sorry about Friday. I really am that I wouldn't be able to be here. We'll be back this Friday with Sean Kelly. I look forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun. Until next time, I'm Pat Dooley saying, I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.